Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday was an exciting day for the Green Transition Forum. We had a lot of panels. We discussed a number of important issues. We had the honor and pleasure to listen to a lecture delivered by Professor Darren Acemoglu, Nobel Prize winner in economics for 2024. We are still ruminating on his messages, but what I believe was most important as a message to take away is that the future is in our hands, and it's about what institutions, what societies will do, and whether they'll serve the whole society or specific interests. Today we're looking ahead to another interesting day. We'll discuss regional cooperation, the future of regions, the social vector, cohesion and its future. Enrico Letta, who opened this forum, in his report, which has become embedded in the new EU policies, contains a thesis which is quite innovative. The single EU market presupposes fundamental rights, the freedom of movement of people, of capital, of goods, everything related to markets. Enrico Letta suggests we include a new right, and that's the right to stay. We see a lot of mobility. People are moving around from country to country in Bulgaria. We see a lot of people crowding the big cities like Sofia and some of the others, and then depopulation in the rest of the country, which is quite bad for the economy, and it's a result of lack of opportunities in those areas. But the right to stay means a new kind of regional policy, creating the right conditions for people to get educated and to be what they would like to be, to work where they were born, rather than move seeking better opportunities. I believe that's a good foundation for our first discussion today. Later on, there'll be other interesting panels related, for example, to the topic of financing measures, because everything we do needs financial resources. And another point that Mr. Letta makes is that there isn't sufficient mobility when it comes to the movement of capitals. We need funding for private initiatives. So instead of losing 300 billion euro to the United States, we can invest that money into European competitiveness. Another interesting topic will be social and cohesion policies and retaining their key role in the EU budget, because we are starting negotiations on the next financial framework for the EU. We'll have discussions on the circular economy and sustainable governance with a lot of interesting speakers. This fast developing type of economy opens up a lot of exciting opportunities, but I'm not going to tell you all about our agenda for today. You can check that yourselves. I would like to welcome especially the Mayor of Sofia, Mr. Terziev, who will deliver a keynote speech, talk about, I'm sure, about the problems of local governance. It's very hard to govern and manage the affairs of a city like Sofia. We'll hear also from Mr. Ivanov, Minister of Regional Development and Public Works. I would like also to thank Ms. Kata Tutu, President of the European Committee of the Regions, who is with us, although there are a lot of important events happening right now across Europe. But Ms. Tutu holds our country in her heart, and I'm grateful for her for attending. We know that regional EU policies need to be defended, and there are certain priorities that we would like to retain. But without further ado, I would like to wish you a fruitful discussion. May you have the floor. Minister, Ms. Tutu, Mr. Gulekas, Ms. Sukova, dear panelists, ladies and gentlemen, for me it is a great honor to open the third day of the forum. We have gathered together esteemed guests, innovative people. The Green Transition Forum is a clear example of how important cooperation is between the institutions, the business, and the civil society. Only together we can address the challenges of the present. Sofia has taken on the road to its own green transition. We want to make it a clean, digital, green city. It is important that we do what we need to do today so that we have the future that we want tomorrow. Having a green city requires a vision, but also lots of cooperation, something that Mr. Stanishev just mentioned. We need alliances between the local authorities, the academia, the business, and of course the citizens of the capital. We start with data and technology. We have developed an emission profile for the city. We have clear indicators, and we have identified sources of funding. We have our roadmap. We have innovations already in place, photovoltaic systems. We take care of our green spaces because we know that every tree and every patch of greenery protects us against the negative effects of global warming. But we also look beyond the present to energy communities. We want households and schools to generate green energy. We count on the civil participation because we think that people can bring about change. We would like to become a net zero city. It is our commitment to the rest of Europe and to the future of our children. Our goal is to reduce harmful emissions by 81% in cooperation with everybody and using all the data that we can gather. We have a common vision. No municipality can do all this on its own, but if you believe in change, that's inspirational. Working together with the central authorities, I believe that we can achieve even the most ambitious goals. We are ready to lead, and we would like to use this forum not just as an opportunity to discuss issues, but also to share ideas about the future. Sustainable future is what we all want to have. I would like to wish you fruitful work, and I would also like to congratulate the organizers of this excellent event. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and thank you. Thank you all for being here so early in the morning. I think that there is a good explanation for such big attendance, because today we are going to be discussing a topic that concerns the life of every citizen here in Bulgaria and in Europe. How will the regions develop? How will we ensure that they're carbon neutral? And how we, local authorities, are going to ensure that people enjoy higher quality of life, so that people can stay, live, work, and spend their lives in their home places. My name is Silvia Georgieva. I am the Executive Director of the National Association of Municipalities, and today I will be moderating this panel dedicated to the sustainable development of regions, carbon neutral and smart cities, from a vision to transforming the vision into a reality. We, of course, are realists, and we will try during the discussion to keep a very strong pragmatic focus, so that those of you who are here and those who listen to us online can glean some practical solutions that will help them to change the living environment in a way that ensures a sustainable development in the future. So thank you, the organizers. Thank you, Mr. Stanishev and Monica, for the honor to moderate today's panel. Now, allow me to please introduce all participants and then proceed with the discussion. Our distinguished guests are very interesting. They have a lot to say. So allow me to introduce Mr. Ivan Ivanov, Minister of Regional Development and Public Works in Bulgaria's government, Mrs. Kata Tudo, Chairperson or President of the European Committee of the Regions. It's a privilege to welcome you as a guest here, Mrs. Tuto. Our association is moderating and administering the Bulgarian delegation at the Committee of the Regions, and we are very happy to have you as our guest here in Bulgaria today. Mrs. Andreana Sukova, Deputy Director General of DG Employment, Social Policy and Inclusion at the European Commission. Monsieur Dominique Hermer, who's the Managing Director of one of the three electricity distribution companies in Bulgaria, EVN, and Mr. Hans Rhein sitting next to me, the head of the Life Department, the Life program. It's well known because many municipalities are already developing and financing projects under the program. It's incredibly interesting and innovative. And Mr. Dragomir Tsanev, Executive Director of the Center for Energy Efficiency and Effect. These are our panelists, and I would like to thank them as well as the organizers for being here today. Our debate will focus on 5 topics which have been articulated by the organizers: main challenges and opportunities to achieve zero emissions, the road to zero net consumption, strategies for decarbonization, best practices from the first 100 carbon neutral cities, green infrastructure and for smart cities, and the potential of energy communities in the green transition. Allow me to say that a bit later, the Deputy Minister of Internal Affairs of the Hellenic Republic will be joining us, Mr. Konstantinos Koulekes, as well as Mr. Tanos Bekis, the Deputy Governor of the province of Central Macedonia in Greece. We mentioned at the beginning that carbon neutral transition for cities and regions is not just empty, is more than just empty words. It is a guarantee for a better quality of life. But both rural and urban regions have a role to play in achieving zero emissions. And whereas cities are the driving force behind technological advancement, rural regions offer a number of natural solutions, and each of our panelists has a lot to contribute. Our debate will have two parts. In the first part, each of the participants will have 5 minutes to talk about the position of their institution on the topics that I've just mentioned. And during the second part, we'll have a structured discussion with each participant being able to answer up to 2 questions asked by the moderator. So I would now like to first give the floor to Mr. Ivan Ivanov, Minister of Regional Development and Public Works, the minister who represents municipalities in Bulgaria's government. And I'm saying this with a great deal of conviction because we liaise and are in touch on a daily basis. Thank you for this opportunity. I would like to first of all thank Sergey and Monica for organizing the event, which lasts an entire week, and it is unique in this regard. Mrs. Georgieva, Kata, and dear panelists and guests of the event, I believe that today's discussion will be an opportunity to ask and hopefully address a number of questions touching on a number of important topics. Of course, we don't have all day, and we are hoping to touch on a number of serious and challenging issues. As my colleague has said, we work with the Association of Municipalities on a daily basis, but I would now like to focus on today's topic. And I would like to first of all mention my vision and the vision of my colleagues, according to which the current global situation presents a number of multi-layered challenges for the Bulgarian regions: social inclusion, demographic disbalances, economic imbalances. But these challenges are also an opportunity for change and an opportunity to build a better future for all Bulgarians. The sustainable development of regions is not merely a strategic objective. I think we all realize that it is an imperative need, and our job is to put in the necessary conditions that enables economic growth, that does not deplete natural resources, that lowers our carbon footprint, and at the same time improves the quality of life, creating opportunities for all, both in large cities and in smaller agglomerations, because actually we should and are in fact all equal. So at the very heart of regional development policy, which has been a focus of all operational program, is the environmental, ecological, economic and social aspects. using the EU instruments, including the cohesion policy and the just transition mechanisms, which enable our ministry to support projects that support energy efficiency, green infrastructure, innovations, digitalization. This process is ongoing, and I can only mention a few examples. We support sustainable economic development during the current period through the Regions in Growth operational program, which has a budget of 6.5 billion level from two funds, the European Regional Development Fund and the Just Transition Fund, which are currently supporting some of the largest scale investments in municipalities with the ultimate goal of achieving sustainability and resilience in the context of the green transition under the first two priorities, which are supported by the European Regional Development Fund, target the 50 large municipalities in Bulgaria, and the first 10, the largest 10 are under priority 1, the rest under priority 2. For the first time during this programming period, the activities will be implemented using a brand new approach. And I hope that my colleagues at municipal level will be able to embrace it. Integrated territorial investments, which are a serious challenge, but this is a very good instrument for ensuring greater cohesion between regions and implementing common policies by strengthening the focus and developing regions on the basis of needs and taking into account what has already been achieved during previous periods. During the two previous periods, certain activities and beneficiaries have received support under the current program. Funding opportunities tended to focus on partnerships with a leading role for municipalities and the eligible involvement of the civil sector, the private sector, district governor administrations, of course, so that all our activities at the moment target the achievement of these goals. And because we don't have a lot of time, instead of a conclusion, allow me to say that yesterday in Gabrovo, we launched a new call with a budget of almost 980 million lev, and we will launch the assessment of the municipal projects, trying to implement an approach from the bottom to the top, so that we end up with a feasible pipeline, which will ultimately be decided by the municipality. So the assessments will come from the local communities, and we look forward to receive a list of the projects so that we can start working for their implementation. I will be very happy to answer any questions that you may later have. So thank you, Mrs. Georgieva.
Thank you, Minister. Our discussion is going to be pragmatic. I'm grateful to Mr. Ivanov for sharing some important news from yesterday. The Minister talked about the capability of Bulgarian municipalities to cope with the tasks ahead. I think that we have proved that we can indeed do what is expected of us. We submitted more projects than was expected of us. We'll see if this trend will continue in the future, but we'll get back to the energy efficiency program later on in the Q&A session. Now I'd like to turn over to the President of the European Committee of the Regions, Catetuto.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I mean, I came gladly. I have great friends here, and thank you very much for this. We are seeing very exciting times. In the Committee of the Regions, we have more than 700 leaders from all across who are spending a lot of their times for day-to-day crisis management and more thinking. In the past 5 years, it seems, crisis after crisis, that it was a training season, an exercise. So we arrived to this moment in the world today where we see an amalgam of all the crises. It's like from the Greek mythology, it's the chimera, with the head of the lion and the tail of the snake, with the fire coming out. So it is the amalgam of all the things we fear. We arrive today. So we do a lot of thinking, because we have to understand what we see. And there is a law in thermodynamics that all complex systems goes from order to disorder if there's not enough energy in the system to keep the order. It is true for everything we see. It is true for democracy, it is true for marriages, and it's true for human-made institutions. It's also true for the European Union. Too many crises are shaking the system. It's clear we need more energy to keep the order. What is energy? We need more money, that's clear, but everybody knows that. Every leader, every business, too many things we have to solve. Clearly, we need more money on all levels. That's our everyday. But that's not all. Energy is not just money. Energy is the energy of every individual, every single leader who takes responsibility. I always say that we don't claim local leaders to be at the table because we want to be at the table. It's because this is the time when you need all the energy, the ambition, the innovation capacity, the responsibility, the thinking capacity of all the leaders you have from the smallest towns, the big cities, the regions, the national level, the European level. All of this energy, thinking capacity, innovation capacity is needed. It is so clear that the future is too uncertain to have an idea how to make anything future-proof. This is what we know for sure. When we see the growing anxiety on all levels in our ecosystems, our citizens, business, leaders, what is anxiety? Anxiety is when you have no idea what is happening tomorrow. Too many possibilities. What do you do in these days to lower anxiety? You need stabilizers in the system. You need to make decisions, you need people who make responsibility, you need those who have the ambition to take decision and lower anxiety and bring more stability. I always argued that the cohesion policy of the European Union is not an investment tool, is the most important stabilizing tool of the European Union. This is why the future of cohesion policy is so important in times of crisis. But also, we are talking about competitiveness, we are talking about how we can be similar to other, like China and USA. But the biggest strength of the European Union is that it's diverse. And what I learned from biology is that when the future is very uncertain, when there are a lot of possibilities, the more diverse ecosystem you have, the biggest chance you will have that you will find a solution that will work for that tomorrow. So in the European Union, we need to invest in this diversity. It's important that we find different paths for our communities. Sergio was talking about the freedom to stay. It's super important. We have municipalities, communities, towns that have thousands of years of past, of history. People were living there 4,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago. We want these communities to have a future. Who has the biggest ambition to give a future for their community? It is those who live there, those local leaders who will find a path. Also, Professor Asamoglu likes to go into, he uses the story of the Red Queen from Alice in Wonderland. Very exciting story. It's the second book, when Alice goes through the mirror, the looking glass, and arrives to a world, and she meets the Red Queen. And the Red Queen says, here you have to run as fast as you can just to stay in one place. This is what we feel. This is what our citizens feel. And a lot of people are very, very tired. They cannot run in the same pace. So it is our role, leaders on all levels, to find a path, find a pace that works for most of our communities. So I'll stop here, but this is what we have to do. Everybody has to invest as much energy as they can. They have to carry as many weight as they can carry, take responsibility, and bring stability. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tutu, for the inspiring words. Indeed, local leaders need to sit around a table and conduct strategic talks about the future of our union, and they are there through the Committee of the Regions. The debate about the cohesion policy is not just a debate about an instrument, because the cohesion policy is the policy that ensures that people indeed can enjoy the right to stay where they are. We'll go back to that topic again with some specific questions for Ms. Tutu, but now I would like to turn over to Ms. Sukova for her introductory intervention. You have the floor. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to take part in this forum. I would like to congratulate everybody, Ms. Danisheva, for the organization, for the great panels and the ideas being shared. I would like to address the Mayor of Sofia, Mr. Ivanov, Ms. Tutu, the rest of my panelist colleagues, and remind you that since last December we have a new European Commission with the same president, Ms. von der Leyen. But the priorities for the next 5 years will be sustainable development and prosperity, as well as increasing competitiveness. all policies and initiatives that are going to be adopting in the coming 5 years will be tested to prove that they can really achieve those two important goals. We know that we have a commitment to our citizens, and this is to do so that a green transition, which is not a choice but a necessity, something that needs to happen, will not forget the most vulnerable, those who will be impacted by all our policies, and that will be able to keep our social model, a model that everybody respects highly, to sustainable development of regions and the transition to net zero economy remain at the heart of our policies and our actions. In March this year, the European Commission adopted the Clean Industry Deal, which sets out a framework for industrial development, but also for human development. Let me highlight that it defines strategic industrial sectors and also focuses on improving the competitiveness of our industry by increasing the role of renewable energy sources, reducing energy prices, and also retains our ambitions up to 2040, when we have to achieve 90% reduction in CO2 emissions and a climate neutral economy by 2050. The just transition framework mentioned by Mr. Ivanov was set out back in 2021. I would talk about two of its elements in addition to the Just Transition Fund. First, we have a recommendation of the Council to ensure a just transition to climate neutrality for the EU. It defines a lot of activities at European, national, and regional and local level. I fully subscribe to what Ms. Tutu said, that without a sustainable partnership, we are not going to succeed. We are together in this, and we need a long-term close cooperation working to achieve the same goals.
Another component that is relevant to lowering the potential and negative effect on people resulting from the policies stemming from the green transition is a social climate fund. The social climate fund and the dedicated regulation aims to lower the negative impact on the most vulnerable groups in the population, those for whom the higher prices will be the most difficult to cover, those who for example, can travel but can't afford to do it, and also micro and small enterprises who are most dependent on transport, because the directive also applies to the emissions released by land transport and buildings, which will also be charged. In other words, so that those most strongly affected can receive support. The Green Deal for the industry also places an emphasis on skills, because people are essential. Highly skilled, well-qualified skills that are upgraded and modernized on a continual basis. They should also protect the just transition. Skills and qualifications are one of the 6 drivers that will ensure the success of the Clean Deal for the industry. Of course, cities play a major role. We mean smart, clean, cities, and 85% of GDPs at national level is generated in cities. 3/4 of employment is in cities, but also 80% of emissions are generated by cities. In other words, we need to find the point of convergence between these challenges so that while lowering emissions, we can protect welfare and not harm the potential of cities to continue development. We can consider many different solutions such as heat pumps, also various plans, sustainable urban transport, of course, strategies for energy supplies. But I would like to once again underline that the challenges are here. We cannot go around them. The population in large cities is increasing, inequalities are increasing, and Professor Jem Olu clearly spelled this out last night. Demographic pressure. We have a very rapidly aging population and also access to housing, both in large cities and smaller agglomerations. These are the challenges which at the European level will be analyzed in detail. Measures will be proposed, but of course implementation depends on the national authorities, on the national governments, on the local authorities, their cooperation. We need to work together, because unless we do, we will fail. And the same applies to sharing and working to achieve the same set of goals. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, Mrs. Sabeva, for these introductory words. You said that the green transition is not a choice but a need, and I believe that we all know this. Mr. Enrico Letta said this in the morning. Scientists in Italy now have models according to which 100 years down the line only the Dolomites will be habitable in Italy. Meaning that our efforts are not simply a policy that somebody dreamt up sitting in their cushy office in Brussels. These are policies that are relevant to each and every one of us, and we should all receive support. I would now like to introduce Mr. Konstantinos Gyulekis, Deputy Minister of Internal Affairs of the Hellenic Republic. He will make a concluding speech at the end of our panel, but now we would like to welcome Mr. Gyulekis and explain for the audience that in Greece, the Ministry of Internal Affairs is responsible for municipalities and not for public order as in Bulgaria. So we are very happy to welcome you. And now I would like to give the floor to Mr. Yermer for his introductory 5 words. We are very happy to be able to partner with electricity distribution companies. All municipalities know how important this communication and cooperation is. Mr. Yermer, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning. Distinguished members of the Bulgarian government, dear representatives of the European institutions, respected mayors, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. EVN started its engagement here in Bulgaria 20 years ago. And guess what? We're still here. We're stronger than ever. And we started with our engagement in the distribution system operation, so in the basic electricity grid. Several years after that, we took over also the district heating company in Plovdiv, and this is what I'm going to focus the most on today, because when talking about urban areas, we heard about growing cities, the need for the green transition, then this is where the strengths and the power of the old economy is laying, and that we need to transfer into the future world, into the future economy, into the green world. And I'm going to share with you our success story, not to embrace ourselves, but to also bring you there where we see now the bottleneck where we need help. And I'm closing with an opportunity, sharing with you why it's necessary, why it's worth it, and how we see the future. When in 2007 EVN was taking the investment also in the district heating company, taking over, we made this with a promise to modernize the old infrastructure dating back to the 1970s. So power plant technology is really long lasting, but you can imagine after 30, 40, 50 years there is a need for reinvestment. And this is what we have done. We have invested in our state-of-the-art cogeneration plant, making it the most modern power plant on the Balkans at that time. We started our engagement in innovative projects using district heating, not just for heating buildings, but also cooling buildings. And in 2021, we have made our promise come true to modernize our infrastructure. We have commissioned 2 new heating plants, making us the first district heating company in Bulgaria, modernizing the complete production park. So with that, we have been already contributing a lot to a greener CO2 neutral environment. We have been cutting our CO2 emissions in half. We have been avoiding around 1 million tons of CO2 emissions, but still we brought everything to the level that is state of the art. And this is what we have been doing, and when talking about new production, also when it's about talking to the green transition in CO2 neutral technology, when it's always about production, where the electricity or the heat is coming from. And on the electricity sector, we have already got there. We're now talking about the bottleneck, the grids, and it's the same for district heating. So in district heating now we have been done half of the job. So you can see EVN is a financial sound company. We have unleashed 128 million of investments in the new infrastructure, which is great, but there is another potential that needs to be renewed. It's the refurbishment of the district heating grid. So when talking about the district heating grid, I'm just bringing you down into my operational life. It's 180 kilometers long, 40 kilometers of it is new. New means state of the art. With a new grid, you can cut emissions, which means the losses of the transmission grid more than in half, which is great. And still what we're able under the legislation, under the regulation we're in as a company, it also means that we can refurbish around 1 kilometer per year. So the need of 140 kilometers old grid, 1 kilometer a year. So well, we have a plan for the next 140 years. And this is where we need, where we see the bottleneck. So the regulation allows us a certain investment. And on the other hand side, we need to support. I mean, we could do more. We could add it to the tariffs. But this is what we heard already. There is a need to subsidize tariffs, to keep them low, to keep them attractive, to keep them competitive under this environment. So what can we do? And this is bringing me to the solution or to the opportunity we're having. So there is this one thing. We need to catch up. This is this one missed investment cycle, let's call it that way. So this one missed investment cycle is what we have to really speed up with, I think, the potential of utilizing a lot of European money, so grants are there. We need to distribute them into the right area, and this is where we will see, and I'm talking now about investments in infrastructure, and it sounds like a company is asking for public money, but it's not like that. So it's even not a thing that we could contribute from as a company. It would be society. It's establishing a sound and fond infrastructure for the future, and this is what would unleash all these investment potentials that are there. So this could be done by private money. We are ready to invest in all this CO2 neutral technology, but you need to invest in a system that has a stable backbone. And this infrastructure is nothing that we would say this is EVN infrastructure. It's a common infrastructure for the city to supply the citizens, to supply the business in town, to supply the municipalities. So when there is this one thing we need to do to unlock investments in the green transition, then it would be refurbishing, modernizing the grid infrastructure, not for the electricity grid, but same as for the district heating grid. And when thinking about this bright future in the green transition, then it's pretty simple. We need to invest into thermal storage, unlocking the potential of flexibilities. So this is what the electricity system is lacking. We're talking about photovoltaic and we're talking about battery storage, and this is not everything. Because when talking about district heating, we take it for granted, so it's there now. But what if it's not here? We would have a huge demand to supply with the electricity grid all these customers, and we're lacking the electricity production that is already there, so it's double dipping. And the electricity grid is having already a really, let's say, dense investment program to integrate all the renewables. So in this respect, I think the money would be unlocked if we can put the district heating companies, which are combining all the heating needs of a city in one system. So you can do one investment to switch all of them. So this is the power that we have seen already with our investments in 2011 in this new power plant. And this is what we can do as well when it's about renewable transition of the district heating systems for smart cities. And I cannot make it any clearer. And let's follow my metaphor. If you're a sailor and you're in a ship, and this is what a colleague of mine told me lately as a symbolic way of telling the story, and you have a rusty hull and it's leaking and you have to get to point B, would you invest in a new engine or would you start fixing the leakages? And it's even more worth thinking about this metaphor, because if you need to speed up and you could buy an engine with a 100 horsepower, after you have refurbished your hull, you can invest in a 50 horsepower engine and get to the same speed. And this is what it is and what we can unleash with these investments and the modernization of our grid.
Благодаря на господин Ермер.
Thank you, Mr. Ermer, for these introductory words. I am glad that you've highlighted the need for investment in the electricity, but also heating infrastructure. Particularly those of us who live in North Bulgaria clearly understand now why the investments in the grid should not be incidental or random, but should be a part of a comprehensive strategy. Of course, using both public and private financing is important, and it is important to discuss these issues both at events like this, as well as on a regular basis between your company and individual municipalities. And now I would like to give the floor to our next speaker, Mr. Hans Rhein, who is responsible for the LIFE program, a highly innovative, interesting program open to cities, which enables us as regional and local authorities to test innovations in the renovation of the urban environment. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you all. It's a great pleasure to be here at this event, and congratulations also from my side for the organizers and dedicating a whole 5 days to the green transition, because I think the green transition is, I think as we all know, absolutely essential, but it also sometimes sounds like a daunting exercise, something that is difficult to achieve. And I think what I would like to really express and share with, from the experience of the LIFE program is that this the green transition is feasible it's compatible with competitiveness, and that it's also good for the local economy. And I think that's very important, obviously, for mayors, because I mean they are facing the daunting challenge of having to implement all these new guidelines, apply the new building rules under the EPBD, the Energy Performance for Buildings directives, the energy efficiency directives, applying new rules for renewables, setting up energy communities, solving circular economy questions. So it's a very daunting task, and I think these challenges obviously need to be addressed. But I think we have the solutions nowadays. We have both the technical solutions, but I think we are working in particular also on the innovative approaches to it, and helping in particular mayors. I think the LIFE program is particular. It's one of 7 programs that CINEA manages, and CINEA 7 program are dedicated entirely to the implementation of the European Green Deal. Obviously, with larger programs in the LIFE program focusing on infrastructure investments and connecting Europe, but also a lot of research that is necessary in order to support the green transition, but also innovation for companies. So I think that is all very, very important. What I wanted to say in my brief opening words is just picking up 3 examples from when I speak with mayors and representatives of local authorities, of what is important and why they really enjoy working with the LIFE program, because we are helping them to find the solution. One aspect is obviously, I think, the important things also for the local the local municipalities is the enabling environment. I mean, you need to set the targets right, you need to have the plans right, you have to give your companies in the local areas a clear vision of where you're going, and where the investments will be required. And I think we are helping companies, municipalities really in implementing sustainable energy and climate plans, to update them to regular plan. But we also work with cities to look at the heating systems and the district heating systems, because I think the district heating system is one of the essential ways of decarbonizing it, to introduce renewable sources into the heating system, but also to look at the expansion of it. Might not be what people think, because it's very centralized management. And with one of the projects that we have funded over the last few years, we have looked at 7 larger cities and helped them to really establish a plan, neighborhood by neighborhood, on how they could either integrate, replace the sources of renewables, or expand the heating system. And that obviously is essential in order then afterwards to have the investments afterwards to implement your investments. Another project, and now I'm coming maybe to more examples in Bulgaria. We have one of our integrated projects that we implement with Sofia municipality, and 6 other municipalities in Bulgaria. It's helping them to establish a sustainable urban mobility plans, and transport is obviously critical in the decarbonization if you want to achieve your missions of decarbonizing your cities with 30%, 35% of emissions from the transport sector. It is essential. And with these integrated projects, which are very long projects, we really support the establishment of the plans, the implementation of the plans, but also the whole stakeholder consultations, because it's important to keep the citizens on board. And I think we've seen that these programs are very essential to help municipalities and cities move forward. because they provide a stability to implement it, but also they will then provide the ability to attract investments. And I think we've seen from other integrated projects that in general, our integrated projects attract sometimes 500, sometimes even 1,000% of investments relative to what we invest. Maybe two quick examples that I would like to focus as well. We support a lot of one-stop shops and renovation services at the local level. For me, that's essential because citizens' advice to citizens on how they want to renovate is again crucial. And I think we had the European Sustainable Energy Week last week, and members of the city of Ghent, a town in Brussels, made that point very forcefully. If a city invests in advisory services, they get 17 times the local investments that will come from renovation. And I think that is very critical. And we do similar things through our projects. We work here in Sofia with the municipalities as well through the fund FLAG. And I think that is really critical. So you can really multiply by simple service provision the investments into your local economy and also help the clean transition at the same time. Thank you very much.
Благодаря на господин Райн за
Thank you, Mr. Ryan, for those very specific examples. I can confirm that our association, together with the municipality of Sofia and another 6 municipalities, we participate in this live project, which has a huge added value. With that, I turn over to Mr. Tsanev. Thank you, Ms. Georgieva, Mr. Ivanov, Mr. Terziev, Ms. Tuto, Ms. Sukova. It is my pleasure to be here together with you and share our common ambition that goes like a red line through the whole forum. I would like to thank Mr. Stanishev and Ms. Stanishev for this forum, which I believe is one of a kind in Europe. It's important that we are able to hear various points of view and to reconfirm again that there is one road ahead, there is no alternative, and we need to use the potential created by the green transition to make the life of our citizens better. My position is slightly different. My perspective is different. I would rather focus on certain deficiencies which should probably guide us in our further actions. When we go back to the places we work, we need to know what we have to do. So, speaking about deficiencies, the first one was mentioned by Mr. Stanishev, and that's our inability to mobilize resources to public and private initiative. We have been talking about a national decarbonization fund, a great initiative, but it's still not become a reality. We need such investment capacity. We talk about energy poverty measures because we need to ensure social justice, but we're still unable to create a model which would help us identify the people that need our support. And the lack of such infrastructure is a barrier to the efficient use of the funding under the climate fund mentioned by Ms. Sukova. And this brings us to the understanding that it's high time we started creating the change. The second deficiency, which is kind of linked to the first one, because the first one is mainly due to lack of institutional coordination, but the second one is that we are not giving enough possibilities for Bulgarian municipality to manage resources, because the municipalities are perhaps the most motivated drivers of change. A lot of policies happen locally. I believe that Bulgarian municipalities deserve more trust. And when we say financial decentralization, we need to make sure that this is indeed what we have by including local businesses and citizens into the energy transformation. Without them owning the change, we will just be talking nicely in halls like this one, but we need targeted activities, we need communication, we need debate in order to make the right decisions. And this can bring us hope that the things that we would like to happen would finally happen, and we'll see them implemented in the right way, combining public resources with the rest of the funding that is also necessary in order to really see the green transition happen. Thank you, Mr. Tanev. Mr. Tanev is always an optimist, a great visionary, and he has been urging us, both central and local authorities, to do our job when it comes to the green transition and making pragmatic decisions. Now I turn back to Mr. Ivanov. He will have to leave early because there is a session of the Council of Ministers. But reiterating what Mr. Tanev said, he spoke about the energy efficiency of the housing and buildings, and that's an issue across the EU, and we have various programs in different countries. We have such programs here as well, but as Dragomir said, these are rather sporadic and they very much depend on the availability of certain types of resources. We still lack a national housing strategy, and refurbishment and renovation relies very much on EU funds, on the National Recovery and Resilience Plan and the national budget. Bulgarian citizens have seen enough evidence of the benefits of energy efficiency when it comes to housing, but we need more. So, Minister, can you give us some further information about the role of the ministry, the role of municipalities, of private owners, and perhaps answer the question, will there be continuity and predictability in the way those programs are managed? And just one further question about the social climate plan. We're developing our own Bulgarian plan. There'll be 30% of the resources allocated for housing refurbishment. This is indeed very important for Bulgarian citizens, so could you please comment on that as well?
Thank you, Mrs. Georgieva. Indeed, these are important questions because one of the first challenges I encountered after I became a minister was the delay in the implementation of the resilience and sustainability plan, more specifically with regard to the first two stages of the efforts to upgrade and modernize the residential sector. But it was important to take steps quickly, and those who have already signed agreements and those who shortly will will receive the financing agreed. We are disbursing European funds, and it's important to meet the expectations of citizens. Indeed, we are communicating and liaising with municipalities on a daily basis. Under the Resilience and Sustainability Plan, we have specific deadlines and time periods for completing the energy audits, the renovation works. We have deadlines for contracting, then project physical implementation deadlines, and so on and so forth. So we have taken the necessary steps to make sure that we don't lose out on these funds, and we also liaise with the European Commission as needed in order to be able to act flexibly and in a timely manner. The renovation of multi-apartment buildings has been a challenge historically. Grant assistance is very important so that people can live in houses that at the very least will lower their electricity and heating costs. So I think that if we work together, municipalities, citizens and the central government, we will be ultimately successful. The Ministry of Regional Development is currently finalizing the contracting process under the program for the development of regions for the period 21-27 in order to overcome issues including energy, poverty. We are also there will also be specific financial mechanisms to support implementation of the projects under the program. And again, we will continue, we will provide support for the energy efficiency of multi-apartment buildings in the 10 largest municipalities, and under the second priority, the 40 other municipalities bringing in the rear to the 50 largest municipalities in Bulgaria. We will also be launching a call for the submission of concept papers on integrated territorial development. In terms of eligible applicants and requirements, we will be publishing detailed guidelines, but the municipalities will be among the beneficiaries. The budget is 980 million lev under the second call. You asked about single family buildings. These will be financed using a variety of financial instruments or a mix of grant assistance and financial instruments, subject to a different set of rules. So we are currently working to select a financial broker. And we are working to finalize the call for piloting energy communities and upgrading the energy efficiency of public buildings, which is good news. We will have a budget of more than 350 million euros. This is a significant amount, and yet another good piece of good news. In the 2025 budget, we have to 6.5 million lev, which the Ministry of Regional Development, together with the Bulgarian Development Bank, will use to implement the second stage of the building renovation program. All buildings are on the reserve list will receive financing, and new ones will be selected, which means that in addition to the funds available under the Resilience and Sustainability plan, we will be able to disperse all available financing, increasing the number of beneficiaries that we are able to help upgrade their buildings in terms of energy efficiency. I suppose that in the autumn, when the contracting period has been finalized, all end beneficiaries, final beneficiaries, will start submitting proposals under the second phase of the call. We thought that we would first disburse European funds and only then start disbursing national funds. This decision was done on the basis of previous experience, and we believe that this is the right way to go forward. You also asked me about the social climate plan and the second component, buildings. The ministry has developed two investments which include the implementation of long-term measures for the support of vulnerable and energy poor households. The first one aims to renovate the buildings, but the buildings where we have a certain number of people who are vulnerable or energy poor, and this is a serious problem at the moment, and has been one of the main elements that cause concern, meaning total renovation in order to improve and increase the energy characteristics, as well as supporting the implementation of measures to introduce renewable energy systems, including storage, electricity storage systems, smart metering devices, the ultimate goal being to improve the overall energy characteristics of buildings and lowering the total energy consumption. And the second goal is to set up energy communities by building rooftop-mounted photovoltaic systems, including local storage systems, which will enable local communities to sometimes even use electricity free of charge, because those who are currently producing electricity using photovoltaic plants at peak hours receive either a zero or a negative price. So this can be another added positive effect for the final consumers who decide to join these schemes. So we hope that after implementing these activities, we will be able to give a significant impetus to the green transition and achieve a much more comfortable conditions, living conditions for Bulgarian citizens, owing to support both from the national government and the European Union. We hope that this will also boost support for European Union initiatives and appreciation for solidarity. So, thank you. I am very grateful, Minister, for the succinct information that you gave us in only 5 minutes. Indeed, a very broad range of measures that can be implemented by both municipalities and private owners in the next few years. A very challenging task that requires excellent interinstitutional cooperation and coordination. Indeed, a challenge, but something that hopefully we will be able to rise up to. So thank you once again, Minister Ivanov, including for the excellent cooperation between us. And now I think we can let you go. He'll be attending on a meeting of the Council of Ministers. Yes, but I am available for any inquiries. The communication lines are open if you would like to receive any information. You can always get in touch, and I wish all participants great discussion and a great event. Hopefully we'll be in a much better place 2 years down the line. Thank you once again. Our panel continues, and we now go back to Madam Chuto. With Minister Ivanov, we have discussed quite a few details relating to the funding of projects using cohesion funds. But my question to you is, what is the future of the cohesion policy, and what will be the future in the next multi-annual financial framework of the European Union? The cohesion policy always provides additional support, particularly at times of crisis when we encounter emergencies, and it remains an essential tool, particularly for regions. So we'll be very grateful for anything you can tell us about the negotiations on the future of the cohesion policy, whether, for example, it will provide financial instruments to local authorities in the context of zero emissions.
Thank you very much. I'll try to be brief. So I already talked to you about the role of cohesion policy being the most important stabilizing tool, and it has to stay this most important stabilizing tool. Sometimes we call it a glue. This is how we glue together the European Union. But for the EU to stay together, it needs many dimensions of gluing. It's not just territorial gluing, it's social gluing, but it has to be a long-term glue. Why is it important? Because as more and more problems occur, we were talking about all the crises, all the waves we see, there is a strong temptation to use the long-term glue and to fix short-term things, okay? Not because anybody is stupid, no, because nobody has enough money, okay? Nobody has enough money. So when you don't have money, you look around and, okay, what can I use? I use the problems of tomorrow to fix problems of today. But that is tricky, because if you transform too much long-term glue into short-term glue, the whole system will collapse. So what do? We have all these dilemmas. We have a lot of problems now. We have a lot of problems tomorrow. What is the balance? We ask for a lot of flexibility. But you know, too much flexibility, it brings chaos. Too much stability, the system becomes super rigid. So it's all the time, it's always about balance. So what we see, we have no idea what the European Commission will put down on the table. We see all the dilemmas we're facing. We talk a lot about competitiveness, but we learned that everything has a price. There's no such thing that everything will be better and it has no price. Okay, what is the price of competitiveness? For competitiveness, you need deregulation. But to understand the complexity of our systems, you need regulation. Competitiveness means that there is a toigetos, that only the fittest survive. But we say we leave nobody behind. Competitiveness means that you have to focus investments, huge investments, in a few fields, especially when it comes to technology. But we want the cohesion policy to work for everyone and glue everyone together. So there are a lot of dilemmas. There's no right or wrong. The whole leadership is about balancing. And we talked yesterday with the mayor of Sofia about, do we believe in heroes? I believe in heroes. All of our human history and story is about we are watching heroes. Because what do heroes do? They try to reach the unreachable star. What is today's hero story when it comes to climate, energy, goals in Europe? We have this mission, the 100 climate neutral city mission. We have mayors who said they try to make the impossible, to become climate neutral by 2030. It seems impossible because you have so many things to do. Use less energy, emit less CO2, produce your own energy. You want to be efficient, cheap, but you want to be safe. You want to prepare for a lot of water, not enough water, for floods, for droughts, for preserving rainwater. You want to have the city that holds everything. You want to have more houses, but you want to have more parks. You want to have more sustainable, affordable urban transport. You want to have citizens of tomorrow, but you see also that you have citizens 65 plus with a lot of different needs, a lot of different use for the city. You have so many things. Okay, what are these people doing, these heroes? They try to make the impossible possible. Why is this important? Because many of them actually can. This is why we watch the Olympic Games. We see humans exceeding all expectations, putting in a lot of energy and pushing limits no one ever did before. Why is it important for others? Because this is how we work, humans. We watch these stories. We watch other people's success. We watch other people's failure. We learn from it. And if we see something is possible, then we try. We know that we cannot, the same thing won't work for Sofia and Budapest, that works for Barcelona, that works for Madrid, that works for Helsinki. But we know it's possible. So we will do everything in our power to try to make it possible for our own community. So this is why these missions and hero stories are important. Thank you very much.
Благодаря.
Thank you, Ms. Duto. Your message of staying together is a very strong one, and this is the way ahead, the best way to improve the life of European citizens. Everybody who is here today in this room, on this stage, we're people who have dedicated our lives to serving our communities, and we would like to see the quality of life across the EU, in the smallest villages and towns up to the largest cities, improving. And now I'd like again to turn to Ms. Sukova, and I would like you to be brief in your comments, no more than 3 minutes, so that we can hear Mr. Gilekis as well at the end. Ms. Sukova, you mentioned at the beginning that a green transition is not a choice but a necessity, and no one should be left behind. What instruments would you propose to each and every group of EU citizens so that this transition is not too hard and citizens are not scared of it? What are the targeted policies to integrate green jobs and improve skills in the transition to smart cities, especially when it comes to green mobility and decentralized energy communities? Thank you. Actually, all the investment from the European Social Fund target citizens. We have 142 billion available, which is utilized by all 27 EU countries. And these focus on reskilling and upskilling workers, also preparing people for the new professions of the future. What is important is that we're clear about the challenges of the future. It is very difficult to predict what skills will be needed in the coming years and how we can ensure that we train people in those skills. And something very concerning that I would like to share with you. Every year in the EU, because of the demographic developments, we see more people leaving the labour market, just 1 billion million entering this market. So we need more people to be reskilled. But this is not something that we can achieve single-handedly. There are other instruments to address the shrinking labour force issue. We need an assessment of the technological development, the current technological development, so that we have a clear idea of what skills will be needed. We have we provide support also for the systems that are involved in the training and retraining workers, and this can be organized via public institutions, but also via the employer organizations. And I'm sure that no employer would say outright that they have all the personnel and best qualified workers they have ever needed. We also try to support the most vulnerable groups in society. Those are low-skilled or workers or people who need any qualifications. We support the long-term unemployed because this is an untapped potential. We provide support also for young people, and this is yet another source of workers for the labour market. Of course, young people need to be trained and motivated. Women very often cannot go back on the labour market because they need to take care of their children or elderly parents. So Roxana Manzato, who was here yesterday and the day before that, has come up with an idea about how we can involve more people, engage them in social services so that women can go back to work and be relieved from their domestic commitments. Mr. Ivanov was very specific, and we heard some great ideas. We heard about how people living in the small towns and villages would be supported. We heard about the support that would be provided for the energy refurbishment of the building stock, and I'm sure that a lot of that will be implemented very soon. The deadline is coming up shortly for submitting the plans. So we do insist that all the plans are discussed and supported by the social partners, by the NGO sector, and all the stakeholders, everybody who is somehow engaged in the green transition and its social aspects. Thank you very much, Ms. Sukova. You shared valuable information concerning the opportunities that the Social and Climate Fund creates. We started our preparation quite late, but now it's very intensive, and we are about to complete work on it. The social climate plan for Bulgaria is being drafted in close coordination with all the stakeholders, especially when it comes to local authorities and the transportation component in particular. Now I turn over to Mr. Yama. I have two questions, but I would be asking for brief answers because we have almost run out of time. Mr. Yama, improving infrastructure is key in terms of carbon neutral cities. What instruments and regulations can accelerate this process, and how can we improve coordination with municipalities? And can you also comment on the decentralized energy communities and the way companies like yours can help their growth?
For the question, and I could talk the whole panel about it. So it's really key questions when thinking into the future, because the cooperation between municipalities and utility companies is really the key. I talked already about what's possible in the sense of regulation, but there is also this, technical limitation if you're talking about infrastructure, if you talk about the grids, all the different grids in the city. So there is not just electricity, district heating, but there is gas, there is water, there is sewage, there is telecommunication, and well, there is just one street and it's under it. So we cannot stress more on the coordination between municipality and all the infrastructure companies in the city. And I think we cannot have enough coordination because everybody knows who was in this room already engaged in a project, who was in the situation to manage a project, to bring infrastructure to life. You cannot spend more time on planning without making the thing happen in a good way that you can even imagine. So doing this planning process, and there it's also about municipalities to get in a more, let's say, connecting role, and not that they are not a connecting role already for the infrastructure companies, but we cannot stress more on there should be more coordination. And this brings me to the digital tools that we should use, and I think this is the one thing where I would answer always with use digital tools at all, and it doesn't matter where you start from, you should make the process transparent, because in markets and in market theory, there is this one thing that always bothers the market and makes it not work, and this is asynchronous information. And with digitalization, you're having the power to make the process transparent, to create trust from all the participants in the system. And it also gives you, and this is where I'm just talking about us as a company, when there was this big trend in connecting PV. You can all remember, and it's still a trend. And we had this destiny to connect all of these PV installations. And there was not just one complaint that the process is stuck, it's late, and it was huge efforts for us. So it was really overwhelming. But this one thing, making the process transparent for the ones who are doing the application, they stopped asking because they knew the application was received, there was a ticket, you could log on to a system, and you see my application is still there, somebody's working on it. And it's not just giving the person who was applying the certainty, it's also giving the company and us as a management transparency about what such a large organization is doing. So digitize these processes, create trust, transparency, and this is the key how we're getting things done. And when talking about, and this is hopefully brief enough, but let me also answer the second question about energy communities, which is really a hard topic, and this was my last project I was doing before coming 5 years ago to Bulgaria, when there was coming this first European legislation unlocking this new role of energy communities. And we have been all, let's say, not really frightened, but we also have seen this uncertainty of what are these roles going to do, and also our management board, the supervisory board, our owners, politics, everybody was asking this question, well, when these energy communities are coming and you're participating, how much do a participant save, I mean, in money? So this was the only question about, and in this pilot project we have been so much elaborating on savings and what an energy community could do to the sector. And I'm just saying this not to warn you, but be careful what you wish for when it's about energy communities, because seeing whole Bulgaria, this is already something like an energy community, right? So there is a market, there is a transparent price, and if you think you're getting rich by being a supply company, well, please do so, try it. It's not that simple. And if you think you can do that on a much cheaper level, if you're going to be an energy community doing something like a supply company is doing, this is not going to happen. Because you have two different dimensions you can optimize yourself against, which is on the one hand side the grid. So an energy community is not optimizing grid costs. So it's not bringing down these costs, they will stay the same. So if you're incentivizing being a participant in an energy community by decreasing grid costs, in total they stay the same and just somebody other is paying for it. And if you do it on the energy sector, it's exactly the same. So we have a market-based principle in the energy sector. So there is a market-based price determined by the IBEX, by the exchanges. And if you think you can save money by doing an investment in renewable energy and it's going to be cheaper for everybody, then it's the comparison on what I'm going to compare the energy bill in the end against it. If I compare it against the market price, there could be just a saving if somebody is not taking revenues. It could be the investor, but why would he donate this money to you? So this would be kind of an energy donation. Or the supplier is paying for it. And both of it is not going to happen. So basically, if you're invoicing with every kilowatt hour something like an energy subsidy tariff, like 1 lever on the kilowatt hour, being put then into the investments for renewable energy, this is something you could save potentially from an energy community. So being participant of this energy community, you're distributing electricity from renewable sources locally. So you're aligning it with consumption and demand in this local area. And this is, I think, what is the great potential energy communities can unlock. It's the acceptance of renewable energy production units in your neighborhood, because this is the old principle of not in my backyard, so everybody's for renewable energy, but the windmill that I can see from my home, well, let's better put it somewhere else. But if I can see this on my electricity tariff, that would be great. But this is how you can unleash it, and please don't wish for something you cannot control in the end, so tariffs would be just paid by somebody else. This is, I would say.
Благодаря на господин Ермер. Наистина беше предизвикателно.
Thank you, Mr. Yarma.
These two questions are important, so thank you for giving such clear and succinct answers. And now I would like to turn to Mr. Rhein. You have already given examples of good projects that can be financed under the LIFE program. Can you please also tell us what are the opportunities under which support will be available for green mobility and lowering emissions in large cities under the LIFE program? Please be short in your answers.
Yeah, thank you very much. I can give a very brief answer. The LIFE program, we do annual calls, so we have approximately 600 million euros to distribute into projects. It's a competitive call, so only the best projects will be selected, but we finance by this way approximately 300 projects every year in different areas of the green transition, and really trying to foster innovation. So I mean, do have a look. We have a call open at the moment. Our stand is outside, so colleagues can also inform you about the different avenues and priorities under the current call. We have national info days that provide more information. I don't know when the national info day will be happen in Bulgaria, but it will probably happen in the next few weeks. But all of the information is online as well. Maybe two additional information about the opportunities that we provide. We have a particular facility that is called the EU City Facility, which provides seed funding for cities and small municipalities to start the investment plan, to really design the investment plans, and with that comes also training for the cities in how to establish these investment plans so that they can afterwards then attract the necessary investment, and whether that is in urban mobility projects, or whether that is to help with renovation of buildings or other parts of the green transition. We have, and that just joins the previous speaker, also recently launched a specific facility for energy communities. For me, it's one of the most exciting avenues to go about, because it involves citizens in a common project of financing renewable sources and benefiting from it. And I think there can be real benefits for both the users in the energy community, but also possibly to address questions of poverty. And I was visiting the municipality of Vitosha here in Sofia yesterday. They hope to be the first one to have an energy community here in the Sofia region, using the public buildings in particular the schools to install solar panels, and then use these in order to reduce their consumption at the municipality in electricity bill. And I think that's a really good community project with community investments. And as far as I understand, according to the plan, it even pays off for those who invest in it.
Благодаря на господин Рейн.
Thank you, Mr. Rain. I would like to once again appeal to my colleagues from the municipalities and participants in today's panel to look closely at the opportunities available under the Rhine program. There is actually a kiosk for the LIFE program outside, and I do ask you to go and meet our colleagues and talk to them. The projects are incredibly innovative, very interesting. And now I give the floor to our last speaker. I actually have two questions, but I will only ask one of them. What support do Bulgarian cities and regions need in order to be successful in the implementation of their climate neutrality plans in the context of the 100 climate neutral plans? Bulgaria has two participants, Gabrovo and the capital, Sofia. Yes, indeed. If I have to give you a very brief answer, allow me to start by saying predictability. We need to have predictable financial resources that can meet needs as and where they occur. And I'm not talking about municipalities only as a public investor, but also local communities and local communities. Unpredictability is our greatest enemy in terms of the implementation of such integrated plans. We have 5.7 7 billion levs for the renovation of buildings. And even if we manage to invest all funds, we will only have renovated 7.6% of buildings, which shows you what you get when you work on a campaign basis rather than on the basis of a solid, predictable plan. Also, municipalities need technical assistance. We don't have competent workers. We need to train workers who are capable of using new technologies. We also need to monitor results, because unless we do, we won't have sound arguments to keep asking for more money. And last but not least, we need to invest in communication between all stakeholders so that they clearly know what the benefits of the green transformation are. And this is where the LIFE program steps in, because it provides funds for skilling of workers, for communication and cooperation, and for many other softer aspects of the task, which undoubtedly is enormous, and we have to work together to achieve. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Tsanev. He was indeed brief in his contribution. This brings me to the end of the round of questions and answers. And now I have the honor and pleasure to give the floor for a final speech to the Deputy Minister of Home Affairs of the Hellenic Republic, Mr. Koulekas, who is responsible particularly for municipalities in Central Macedonia. You have the floor. We're glad to have you here.
Добър ден. Καλημέρα.
Добър ден.
Аз знам български.
Okay, I know a bit of Bulgarian. I have many friends in Bulgaria, in Sofia, in Blagoevgrad and Belgrade, yeah, of course, in Serbia.
Express my thoughts, my ideas in my mother tongue, because it's very important for us to create the future all together with a common plan. Για το λόγο αυτό χαίρομαι ιδιαίτερα που βρίσκομαι κοντά σας και ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ για την ευγενική πρόσκληση να είμαι...
Okay, sorry. Thank you for the very kind invitation. It's an honor to be among the speakers of today's forum.
Να ευχαριστήσω καταρχήν τους διοργανωτές για την πρόσκληση και να πω ότι χθες ήταν μια πολύ σημαντική ευκαιρία για μας, σε ένα δείπνο που παρατέθηκε, να ακούσουμε τον Πρόεδρο της Δημοκρατίας, να ακούσουμε εσάς κύριε Πρόεδρε και άλλες σημαντικές ομιλίες πάνω σε θέματα που αφορούν σε όλους μας.
Allow me to thank you for all significant opportunities. Yesterday we had great opportunities at the dinner to listen to many opinion leaders, including the President of Bulgaria. So thank you, Chairperson, for these opportunities.
Είναι βέβαιο ότι μιλάμε για το μέλλον της ίδιας περιοχής. Άρα λοιπόν, οφείλουμε να μπορέσουμε να χαράξουμε μια κοινή πορεία, όχι μόνο στις βασικές επιλογές μας γύρω από τα θέματα που πραγματεύεται αυτό το συνέδριο, αλλά μια κοινή πορεία συνολικά για την ανάπτυξη και το μέλλον μας.
When we talk about the future of Greece and Bulgaria, of course, we are talking about the future of the same region. And this is why we are duty bound to use our all capacity and put all our efforts into the development of our region.
Ότι εδώ στην Βουλγαρία αυτή τη στιγμή αριθμούμε πάνω από 18.000 ελληνικές επιχειρήσεις οι οποίες δραστηριοποιούνται εδώ, απασχολούν περίπου 30.000 συμπατριώτες σας οι οποίοι συνεργάζονται με τις ελληνικές αυτές εταιρείες και αυτή η συνεργασία επεκτείνεται συνεχώς.
The cooperation between our two people has long traditions. It's useful and very intensive. Let us not forget that Bulgaria is currently we have more than 30,000 Greek companies in Bulgaria, and we have a significant number of Bulgarians working for them.
Ένα πολύ δυναμικό επιμελητήριο, το οποίο έχει περίπου 1.000 μέλη, επιχειρήσεις μέλη, εκ των οποίων το 60% είναι Βούλγαροι και το 40% είναι Έλληνες.
I should mention here the intensive work of the Bulgarian Hellenic Chamber of Commerce. We have the president here. We would like to thank them for their work. The chamber has more than 1,000 members. 60% are Bulgarian companies and 40% Greek enterprises.
Πώς εμείς αντιλαμβανόμαστε την ανάπτυξη, όχι στην Ελλάδα γενικότερα, αλλά ιδίως στη Βόρειο Ελλάδα, η οποία γειτονεύει με τη Βουλγαρία και έτσι μιλάμε για την ίδια πραγματικά περιοχή.
Allow me to also share our agenda and our program with you because we are one of the border regions. We have a number of common projects and we share a common vision. So I'll say a few words about what we can look forward to.
Τα 4 πιο σημαντικά λιμάνια της χώρας μας, διαθέτει την ευνατία οδό που συνδέει την Ανατολή με τη Δύση, τον Ευρωπαϊκό Νότο με τον Ευρωπαϊκό Βορρά, διαθέτει τον σιδηρόδρομο και πάνω απ' όλα διαθέτει το μοναδικό πλεονέκτημα του να βρίσκεται πάρα πολύ κοντά με τις γύρω περιοχές. Χθες έφυγα στις 4 η ώρα το απόγευμα από τη Θεσσαλονίκη και στις 7 η ώρα είμαι στη Σόφια.
Allow me to say that it doesn't take a lot of fantasy to plan activities for a region so rich. North Greece has the 4 largest ports in Greece. The national network includes the Egnatia transport. We have a developed railway structure. Yesterday I started from Thessaloniki at 4 p.m. and I was here at 7 o'clock.
Για προϊόντα, εμπορεύματα αλλά και ανθρώπους προς την κεντρική και την βόρεια Ευρώπη.
Greece and Bulgaria, our border regions, are the main entry points into Europe for products imported into Europe.
Την μετατροπή της Βόρειας Ελλάδας, της Μακεδονίας, της Θράκης μας, σε ένα διαμετακομιστικό κέντρο, σε ένα κέντρο εμπορίου, από όπου θα μπορούν πραγματικά από την Ανατολή, από την Ασία, προϊόντα και εμπορεύματα να φτάνουν πολύ πιο γρήγορα μέσω της Βουλγαρίας και της Ρουμανίας στους προορισμούς τους στις μεγάλες πόλεις της κεντρικής Ευρώπης.
When we think about the development of our region, North Greece, Macedonia and Thrace, we're thinking about transforming it into a center of innovation used to import goods from Asia, which can then, going through Bulgaria and Romania, reach their final destinations.
Ένα σύγχρονο, αναβαθμισμένο σιδηροδρομικό δίκτυο, καταλαβαίνετε ότι αυτό παρακάμπτει τις κλασικές οδούς και δημιουργεί νέες πύλες προς την Ευρώπη.
And if we work in even closer cooperation to further improve our roads and railway links, you understand that we will be much faster in achieving this main vision and goal.
Όπως είναι η Microsoft, η Pfizer, η Deutsche Telekom, η Demand, η Deloitte και επενδύουν στη Θεσσαλονίκη. Ξέρετε γιατί? Γιατί ακριβώς όπως σας είπα, έχουμε 3 ώρες
As you know, in Thessaloniki, we have huge investments by multinational companies. Why they invest there? Because they see this is a good entry point to Bulgaria, to Sofia, to the rest of Europe. This is a way to encourage internal investment as well, which can also happen here in Bulgaria.
Αξιοποιήσουμε τον τομέα της παιδείας και του πολιτισμού. Στην Βόρειο Ελλάδα έχουμε τα 6 από τα μεγαλύτερα ελληνικά πανεπιστήμια, με πρώτο το Αριστοτέλειο Πανεπιστήμιο της Θεσσαλονίκης, το μεγαλύτερο πανεπιστήμιο της Ελλάδος, και με τη νέα νομοθεσία πια που ισχύει στην Ελλάδα, ξεπεράσαμε το σκόπολο και μπορούν να έρθουν ξένα μη κρατικά πανεπιστήμια να ιδρύσουν σχολές με κάποιες προϋποθέσεις στην πατρίδα μας. Έτσι λοιπόν, αυτό το οποίο βάζουμε ως στόχο, πέρα από το να κάνουμε κέντρο εμπορίου, κέντρο διαμετακομιστικό και κόμβο διαμετακομιστικό τη Βόρεια Ελλάδα, θέλουμε να τη μετατρέψουμε σε ένα κέντρο εκπαιδευτικό, σε ένα κέντρο παιδείας. Σκεφτείτε ότι οι Έλληνες φοιτητές που σπουδάζουν στη Σόφια το Σαββατοκύριακο είναι στα σπίτια τους στη Θεσσαλονίκη. Το ίδιο πράγμα μπορεί να συμβεί με Βούλγαρους σπουδαστές, οι οποίοι μπορούν να σπουδάζουν στη Θεσσαλονίκη και το Σαββατοκύριακο να βρίσκονται στα σπίτια τους, στις οικογένειές τους. Είναι το μεγάλο μας πλεονέκτημα. Only 2 minutes.
Only 1 minute.
1 minute. Okay.
Следващото, което правим е да преоценим възможностите и
Another thing we need to do is reassess possibilities in sectors such as education and culture. In northern Greece, we have 6 of the major Hellenic universities. Now, with the most recent legislative amendments, it is possible for international universities to be set up in Greece and in Thessaloniki in particular, which means that Bulgarian students can also study here. And the opposite is, of course, possible as well. So we can think about educational opportunities in the long term.
Στόχο που είναι η αξιοποίηση του πολιτισμού που διαθέτουμε, θέλω απλώς να πω ότι πρέπει να γνωρίζετε πως για μας, για τους Έλληνες, η Βουλγαρία είναι ένας στρατηγικός εταίρος, είναι ένας φίλος και ένας γείτονας, τον οποίον υπολογίζουμε, με τον οποίο συνεργαζόμαστε. Γι' αυτό βοηθήσαμε και τη Βουλγαρία όσο μπορούσαμε με τις δικές μας δυνάμεις και για την πορεία της προς την Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση και για την πορεία της προς το ΝΑΤΟ και για την είσοδό της στη ζώνη των χωρών του Σέγγεν και θέλω να ξέρετε ότι στην Ελλάδα θα πρέπει να αναγνωρίζετε πάντοτε έναν καλό, ειλικρινή φίλο, εταίρο και γείτονα. Είμαστε μαζί, είμαστε στην ίδια γειτονιά, μαζί θα χτίσουμε το μέλλον και σας ευχαριστώ πολύ για την ευκαιρία που μου δώσατε να έχω το βήμα για λίγα λεπτά στο συνέδριό σας.
In conclusion, I could say that we are long-lasting partners and we support each other. We supported Bulgaria's membership in NATO as well as in the Schengen area. We are good partners, so when you think of Greece, think of a partner who is reliable, trustworthy, and always there for you. Just a few sentences from Mr. Tanos Bakis now.
2 minutes. Cafe pause.
2 minutes is enough for me. Your Excellencies, distinguished ministers, esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you for inviting us, the region of Central Macedonia, in this 5th version of Green Transition Forum. And I would like especially to thank Mr. Karfilidis, the President of the Bulgarian-Greek Chamber of Commerce, for this invitation. Savas, you're doing a great job. Thank you very much. On behalf of our governor, Ms. Athina Idona, here in Sofia, a city that stands as a symbol of both historic resilience and forward-looking transformation, I bring warm greetings from Central Macedonia, a region in northern Greece that, like Bulgaria, is committed to building a future rooted in sustainability, innovation, and regional cooperation. In today's complex landscape, sustainable development is not just a policy goal, it's a strategic necessity. Central Macedonia is advancing a bold vision to become a model region for carbon neutrality and smart urban transformation. We're aligning our regional development with the European Green Deal, investing in clean energy, sustainable mobility, and digital infrastructure. Our cities are being reimagined. Thessaloniki, as the Minister said, our regional capital, is at the forefront, implementing smart mobility systems, energy-efficient retrofitting, and digital citizen services. At the same time, we're ensuring that smaller municipalities are not left behind by supporting green infrastructure and fostering inclusive innovation. But these challenges do not stop at national borders, and neither should our solutions. Greece and Bulgaria share not only geography and history, but also a common European future. Our cross-border cooperation through Interreg programs and other joint initiatives has already proven how much more we can achieve together. The decarbonization of transport corridors, the interconnection of energy grids, and the joint promotion of a circular economy models are all areas where our partnership can be deepened. Smart and sustainable regions are not built alone. They're built through dialogue, cooperation, and a shared commitment to progress. Forums like this one are invaluable. They allow us to exchange ideas, align strategies, and strengthen our ties that bind our regions. Let us continue work together, Greece, Bulgaria, and our neighbors in the wider Central Eastern Europe, to turn our shared vision of carbon-neutral, smart, and resilient cities into a living reality for our citizens. Thank you very much.
Благодаря.
Thank you. Thank you for being brief. And with that, we close our panel. Thank you very much. Let us give a round of applause to our panelists. Let us also congratulate the organizers of this excellent event, Director Bici and the Hellenic Commercial and Industrial Chamber. We